It was like that moment before you get married and you have the one other person that you're still pining for and you go back to them and you're like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna marry this other person. And are you gonna say something now or forever hold your peace?
Hi, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and welcome to my mountain television software demo stunt.
I thought I was here to promote my small business.
We'd also like to see you eat the peppers.
There's a full medical. Okay. I got it. When's it gonna be out?
About 10 or 15 minutes.
How long's it been?
You got ice cubes?
Giving people a demo of a revolutionary ad tech software is not going to be the most exciting thing in the world. So we had to find a way to do that. And I'd actually pitched this earlier on, maybe a couple of months before, and I thought, oh, I'll eat one of these peppers. And I just thought it was so much funnier if I play the sort of, big shot movie star who's unwilling to put it in the line, which is it's really actually quite true. So I thought, Steve-O.
Hi friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. So it turns out that if you are Ryan Reynolds and your marketing company is in charge of a marketing and your marketing company effectively steals the marketing from someone else for a film, for example, they stole marketing for the film It Ends With Us. Maximum Effort took over from Sony, from Wayfair, and decided that they were going to be the ones to market the film. And then that marketing deal was supposedly supposed to be free, quote unquote. And then they charged that person, Wayfair and Sony, for the marketing. And then after they did that, they kind of screwed up the marketing and they branded a film that was about DV and generational cycles and breaking generational cycles and healing from trauma. And they branded the film like it was Barbie, rom-com, and Grab Your Florals and Friends, and screwed up the marketing so badly that he destroyed his wife's reputation. And then when his wife was on the red carpet, she refused to ask questions about DV. And then he and his wife iced out the director and the production company and deviated from the marketing plan that they had wanted for their own film. So it turns out that if you run a really, really bad marketing campaign for a film and the film does good despite your marketing efforts, and then you end up in a lawsuit with the production company that you kind of stole the marketing product from and that you charged for services that you said would be free. And then you're sued for extortion and for defamation, business contract interference. And if you try to smear your competitor by calling him a predator and trying to get everyone in the industry to not work with him. And I guess it turns out that when you do that, if you're a part of a company and your participation in the company is that you sold your company to this other company and this other company acquires you. And so you're technically not your own company anymore. You're kind of under this umbrella company. And you do all of these things and you're the chief creative officer. And then your business partner is another director in this company. Well, it turns out if you get sued for doing all of those things, the company that acquires you might drop you because they don't want to be affiliated with your controversy because they need to divest and they're going to, instead of relying on private funding, they've made the decision to go public. And they announce the divestiture and their agreement they came up with you in their initial filing with the SEC. So they announced that they broke up with you in a very public way while they were asking other public investors to invest in them through the stock market. Because that just happened. Yeah, that happened today. Okay, so that's just a very quick rundown. Ryan Reynolds started his company, Maximum Effort Marketing, in 2018 with his business partner, George Dewey. The two of them were then acquired by an advertising company, a software advertising company called MNTN or Mountain.com, and they were acquired by them in 2021. So the announcement of the acquisition of Maximum Effort Marketing to Mountain was made via Hollywood Reporter. And basically, it just said that Maximum Effort was going to be retaining its identity and exist as an agency within MNTN. And he would serve as MNTN's chief creative officer, while George Dewey will become a company's chief brand officer while also retaining his position as president of Maximum Effort. So Maximum Effort was an agency kind of within the parent, and the parent company was MNTN. Got it? And then his Maximum Effort Productions remained its own standalone company. And at the time, this is what Reynolds says. I genuinely love marketing, and I've been gobsmacked by how much fun it's been and how fast we have grown. We wanted a future for our marketing arm that ensured we could continue to move fast, have fun, and do really rewarding work. I was blown away by the simplicity and speed of MNTN's technology and how it opens up access to TV for advertisers who can't afford upfront agreements. I believe the combination of our companies will create a 1 + 1 = 3 situation, assuming my math checks out. It was never my strong suit. So they were joining together to help grow MNTN, and then MNTN would allow Maximum Effort to continue to have its success with these like viral ads that he was creating for Mint Mobile and for Match.com. And that happened in 2021. The deal of how much he made and what he was making. Well, it turns out in their IPO that the officers and directors in this firm weren't really making very much money because the company actually lost money, and it lost a lot of money last year, like a ton, a little bit less than the year before, but still a lot. And so, yeah, they broke up with him on February 28th. What I find interesting is that Mountain Inc., they released their initial offering for the IPO to go public. And as you're going through the documents, which are very boring and most of you won't care about, Ryan Reynolds' name, he's not listed in any of this. He's not listed as a director. His position salary isn't noted on any of the filings. I don't know if this was even a paid position for him, because it was a standalone agency. But he was not on the director's list for a salary. And the CEO of this company, his reported salary was $600,000 last year for a company that's not a ton of money, but it's a startup. It hasn't been around for very long. But the reason why they're doing this initial offering is because they are growing, but they need capital. And they're not getting enough capital from the private investment side of things. So they're looking to stockholders and stock buyers to invest in their company. And it's a Class A stock. But in order to do this, they have to disclose basically everything to do with their company. And one of those is that they have to dictate and note if there's any lawsuits that are currently pending or that they're party to, or that could be subject to making it so that their company could be absolved, like through bankruptcy or through litigation. And while Maximum Effort is not listed in the lawsuit, it would be fair to assume that Ryan Reynolds, as one of the owners of Maximum Effort on paper, and because his company is listed in the $400 million lawsuit, and Ryan Reynolds acting as the director and sort of CEO of Maximum Effort is being accused of extortion, that would have to be disclosed publicly to investors if they were going to invest in this product for an IPO. Because once things go public, everything that's happening within the company is public. And with Ryan, what I'm learning about these business ventures that he's doing is these are extremely high risk startups that he's investing in. And a lot of it is smokescreen because they're not profitable, or if they are profitable, he's not really generating an income from it. He's getting exposure for it. And he's not paying people to do his marketing. So he's making promotional content, but he's not paying anyone to film. So he's not paying the people that appear in his commercials, and he's promising them exposure. This was disclosed on his documentary for Hulu, he was having one of his friends film something for his marketing company and he wasn't getting paid. He said, well, he promised me exposure. Not the best way to run business if you can't pay the people that are in your ads. That might be why he's always in his own ads. But alas, that's why maybe his marketing is him, right? Because you're paying for him. Anyway, but a lot of these companies that he's investing in are high risk, and some of them don't pay out. Like he's losing money. Like he's losing money on his investment with the football club. And he's makes money on certain products, like he sold when he was part of Mint Mobile to T-Mobile, and he sold Aviation Gin. But his deal with his sale for Aviation Gin is highly contingent on how the sales perform of the product in the market based on him, because they only really bought the gin because of his face. And much like what happened with Diddy, is when his personal brand went in the tank, all of that money went away. So it's like they look like they're more wealthy on paper because the deals look like he could make X amount of dollars, but he hasn't actually made that. It's based on performance. So it's kind of a high risk payout, and it's not all in cash. And in some of these cases, all he did was get shares in a company. So last week, I told you Fubo, the platform that he invested in 2022, they ended up dropping him. And now MNTN, who was agency, his marketing agency was under, and the parent company of, they dropped him. And they're dropping him because they're losing money and they're going public. And his lawsuit names maximum effort. So I can only assume that the timing here has to do with the fact of these lawsuits and that his brand itself is a liability. Now, that doesn't mean they can't still work with them, but they can't have an active role in terms of like being a part of the company. Like it sounds like they'll be doing consulting work for them, but they won't be directly owned and they'll remain their own company. So it reduces any risk from MMTN for losing money in the event that, say, maximum effort is added to a lawsuit. Because if Justin Baldoni wanted to, he could also add maximum effort as a part of that, because he could say they were part of the extortion. He hasn't yet at this point. But the announcement was in the offering, and the details of his public dumping by this company say notes to consolidated financial statements. Maximum effort transaction. The company has entered into a new arrangement to continue its relationship with Maximum Effort. On February 28th, 2025, the company entered into an agreement to transfer its interest in Maximum Effort to an affiliate of its original owner. This transaction is expected to close on April 1st, 2025. In connection with its transaction, the company will enter into a service agreement pursuant to which Maximum Effort will continue to provide creative services to the company. So they'll offer services, but they won't be owned by them. And by transferring, it means divestiture, which means they're selling the company back to Ryan. So Ryan has to pay MNTN at whatever they agree to get rid of them. And then when you look at the fact that this company that he was touting as like this, I'm an amazing marketer, I'm a genius. The company that owned him lost $32 million last year, and they lost $54 million the year before. So having him on board wasn't really helping them that much. And now he's become a liability to them, so they're tossing him. And the appearance would seem he wasn't as involved in this company as it would appear. He really is just doing the face of it. And that's what I'm learning a lot about his businesses that he's quote unquote owners of. He's not really an owner. He might be investing money, but really all he does for these companies is just his face, his celebrity. And his celebrity alone is what he's offering to these companies, because Ryan doesn't have education beyond high school. He doesn't have a business degree. He doesn't have a marketing degree. He doesn't have an economics degree. I mean, he has nothing. He doesn't have an MBA or really anything in business. What he is a filmmaker and a creative, and he's had some luck in some of his films, and he's had to take some very shady steps to have that success by stealing the franchise from Tim Miller, by hijacking It Ends With Us, by destroying the credibility of people around him, Deadpool, let's be honest, the only way he got that film made was by leaking it. And then for years after it was leaked and they finally agreed to make the film, they had to make the film after he leaked it. But while this was all going on and there was an investigation, he was denying that he leaked it, only to then years later finally admit that he was the one that leaked it. So he basically was being told no by the network, by Fox and by Disney or whoever made the first Deadpool. No, we're not going to do this. And the only way that they made Deadpool was by him literally taking copyrighted 2 minutes of the film, a trailer, and leaking it to the internet in the hopes that they would bombard the network or the studio to have the film be made. And that's how it got made. Not the most ethical way to get a film made. So a lot of these companies that he's involved in are not high money makers, or his sales of them are contingent on the performance long term of the brand. And now that his brand is tanking, all of these investments that he has are at risk, and that because of that, his brand is himself, and he's becoming a liability to all these companies. And to be clear, he doesn't own Mint Mobile anymore, and he doesn't own Aviation Gin anymore. He's just the face of them now. So now he's dropped his marketing company, dropped him. So now he will still have Maximum Effort, but it's just him and his business partner now. No more umbrella parent company to help expand his business and to grow him. It's back to him and George now, after he was accused of, his again, I'm so confused of why Justin Baldoni hasn't added Maximum Effort in this plot or in the lawsuit. He really should, but he hasn't. But now some people are going to be skeptical to want to use him for their services, given the fact that now he has these claims of extortion and threats and screaming at people and yelling at people. Not a good look for Ryan. And when your entire brand is built around you can't have these kinds of missteps, which is why for years they have been clouding all of his controversy around PR. And the PR that he was putting out about himself was really just smoke and mirrors. And I think if this continues and we start to see more of these companies start to kind of like disassociate with him, you might start to learn that the amount of money that he claims to have isn't as much as he says. And I think that for him, he made a comment in the Wrexham Hulu series in this first season that these kinds of transactions and these business investments are like gambling to him. And he gets like addicted to the high, not of buying it, but like the thrill of it and knowing that there's a risk in losing it. Because a lot of these businesses will fail and the investments won't pay out. It's very high risk to do the kind of private investments that he's doing. When they do work and they do get a win, you can make a ton of money, but you can also lose everything. So for someone that wants to be a good businessman, a lot of times people would say you should invest in real estate because that's more stable. And I was looking to see if Ryan and Blake have a large investment portfolio for real estate, and they don't, which again, to me, makes me wonder, okay, so they have a loft that they own in New York, in Tribeca. It's not cheap by any means. I don't know how much they paid for it, but Justin Timberlake sold his penthouse in the same building this year for $29 million. I don't know if theirs is the same size as his. I think his is probably, I don't know. But so that these penthouses and these lofts aren't cheap. A couple of years ago, they were saying it was worth $5 million. Maybe that's what they paid for it in 2017. But again, Timberlake just sold his for $29 million. So it's not like they have property that's not expensive. They do. And then they own a house in sort of in the country. I guess that's how they would say it, in Westchester County in New York. That's like 7,500 square feet. I don't know how many millions of dollars they spent on that. And that's it. They don't have this vast portfolio of houses. They don't have houses in Paris and LA and Washington. And a lot of celebrities invest in real estate because it's a safe investment versus investing in businesses. And it seems like Ryan is choosing the riskier investments and it's not paying off. And it's risky if he loses this lawsuit because he could end up losing everything. He could end up losing $400 million. I mean, if Justin were to prevail and get that amount of money, and I don't know if he would, Blake and Ryan could end up bankrupt because Ryan is investing in high risk companies. And when you have 4 kids, you should probably be smarter with your investments, which is why just because you're a Hollywood actor doesn't mean you're going to be a good business owner. And we've seen this happen time and time and time again. Great on film, not the best in making business decisions. And if you watch the Wrexham series, Ryan is so out of his league. He doesn't do really anything. And it's his partner that's like involved in all the day-to-day stuff, not all of it. They hired people, but his partner is the one, his partner Rob is doing most of it. And Ryan's just there looking pretty. He's very lazy. So for as busy as he claims he is, he's also incredibly lazy. It's very strange. I'm starting to think that a lot of this persona that is Ryan Reynolds is very much just smoke and mirrors. It would be amazing if the discovery was actually public and we could see the financials for them, because I would bet they don't have as much money as they claim. I would bet that Ryan really doesn't have $300 million, because I feel like if Ryan had that kind of money, he would have more homes. Yes, he's made good money on some films, but other films that he has produced, they've lost money. And he's taken pay cuts in his salary. Now, he made a ton last year for Deadpool, but you don't have a Deadpool every year. And he wants to retire from acting. That's why he's doing all this. He wants to be at home. He doesn't want to be a full-time actor anymore. Well, it sounds like the business world is like, you can't act like this. You can be crazy in Hollywood and be weird in Hollywood, but you can't do this in the business world, Rye. So we'll see if other of his companies are going to start to distance themselves too the longer this goes on. This is why I feel like he's like in self-sabotage mode, right? He and Blake are in self-sabotage mode. Why would you sue right now when you have all this other stuff on the line? What was the purpose here? All you did was exposed yourself, and you're basically just going to shit your whole life away because you were angry at him over something and your ego got in the way of you, and you're just going to piss away all of your businesses. That's what they call karma. And I guess more justice for Baldoni. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you surprised to hear about this? Tell me in the comments below. I'm so excited that you're here. 60% of you haven't subscribed yet. Make sure to hit the subscribe button on the way out. I'm loving the conversations we're having on the topic. And as always, tell me all the things. Bye, guys.